Hello, and welcome to another round of Sarah Sabin's question time. And today's question is, Sarah, what exactly do you mean by artificial emotional highs and emotional lows? So if you have followed my work for a while, you will notice that I talk about emotional mastery, emotional neutrality, emotional intelligence, emotional management a lot. And that is for a reason. It's because it is one of the internal core linchpins to success at work. And contrary to what you might believe, being overly positive and overly excitable in the workplace is not a good thing. And I'm going to explain why. So, I'm talking about emotional highs and emotional lows. And this is usually dictated by what's going on in the outside world. So if you determine something is good, you're high. If you determine something is bad, you're low. In reality, nothing is ever good or bad because there's a balanced way and a balanced perspective when you look at anything. But it's about our perception of a situation. So I'll start by just putting a few things out there. Have you ever noticed how bad things often tend to accompany good things? So you have a great day and then something happens the next day and you're like, damn, my role is ruined. Or just as things seem to get direst, a breadcrumb of hope emerges and you start to see some light in the darkness. Or you get really overexcited about something in your life. So maybe it's a meeting or a contract or a holiday. And then something happens to kind of spoil it. So let's say the meeting went really well and then everything just fell apart. So clients said they were going to sign contract, didn't sign contract, and then you're suddenly in an emotional doldrum. You, like most people, would think of it as coincidence. And I did as well for years until I started noticing this pattern. And this has also been talked about in a book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. He is a psychotherapist and has been for many decades. And he talks about this concept of upper limiting. The upshot of all of this is we all have a balance or set point, and when we get either too high or too low, something happens that will correct the balance. So it could be something external, or it could just suddenly be like that you have a bout of anxiety. And as I said, the problem with this is that we're all at the mercy of whether we determine we have a good day or a bad day. The key to emotional mastery, i.e., to being emotionally neutral more of the time, is to also understand this principle as well, and in all circumstances, find a way to balance yourself out. So, what can you do about the highs and lows? The key is, whether you're high or whether you're low, to bring yourself back to neutral. Now, you may say to me, Sarah, I never get excited. So here are some signs that you could be getting high. If you're saying to other people, or you're even thinking things like, that was the most incredible day ever, it could never get any better, or that was the most incredible meeting, or this is going to be the most incredible client, or this is going to be the thing that turns everything around. Chill the F out. Joking, not joking. Basically, those are signs that you're on an emotional high. So how do you deal with that? You want to basically sit on it and not talk about it unless you have to. If you have to talk to your team about it, great, talk about it in emotionally neutral terms. But ideally, don't talk about it or think about it for at least 48 hours to give yourself a amount of time to emotionally rebalance. by all means, give yourself a mini celebration, give yourself a pat on the back, because that's important too, but don't obsess about it. In 48 hours, what's likely to happen is your brain will come up with some negatives of what just occurred, which will start to balance you out. And actually, those negatives coming in are a good thing, not only from the point of view of balance, but also from assessing risk. Because with that high emotion gone, you are more able to see inconsistencies, gaps, risks, and then be able to rationally process in order to bulletproof. I always say to my clients that making a decision from a low place is really optimal. Most people will be aware of that, but also making it from a high place is not optimal either, because you are blinding yourself to potential risk factors, and you're not likely to be thinking as rationally as you could. And on the other side, if you're feeling low about something, process your emotions, so don't suppress them. I have lots of content with mini steps on how to do that, and find all the positives in the bad thing or things that you think have just happened. Because the only thing that makes, or the only reason why we think something is bad is because it is our perspective on the thing. So someone else might actually think, oh, that's a good thing. You've learned a great amount there, go you. And it's your perception that is making you feel bad. So finding benefits to what's just happened after you've processed your emotions, so don't suppress those, and finding learnings from it will allow you to, again, emotionally correct and balance yourself out. And you can ask yourself the question, how is going through this challenge or this failure ultimately going to make me even more successful? To take it up an extra notch there.